Yeah, so basically today, I know that our subject is on selling on Amazon, but I kind of want to like also bring in a holistic approach to web sales. And I will say, I like to preface this with saying that everything is fluid with the web, with algorithms, with just the way things are done online, change all the time. Even on Amazon, I've been selling for several years now. I've been through ups and downs on it. I've been kicked off of it for various reasons that I'll go into, and gotten back on, reinstated, and I've got a love-hate relationship with it. So I hope that you'll learn from my experiences. I don't know everything about Amazon. I know it from a brand point of view, which might be a little bit different, but it's kind of what I see is where you can succeed in being unique online and creating something that is, you can't get everywhere else. But the marketplaces are kind of where a lot of business is going. And I'll start off by saying, okay, I have a website I've had for about 20 years. I built it myself and then worked it up from where it was to where it is now. We get probably 500,000 people a year to it. And then our Amazon site, though, we've been on there for about 3 or 4 years. And that site has grown steadily. But what I'm seeing is that the website is flat to small growth, and the growth is coming on Amazon. We're also on Walmart, and we're also on eBay. So I can compare those with our own website experience versus all the other ones, and kind of give you some insight into the holistic approach here on the web, rather than just Amazon. So you can kind of compare them and see how it all, see where you might fit in. But so feel free to interrupt, because I want this to be more of a discussion than a lecture, which is why I want to sit down rather than sit here and just get up and do it. Because I was thinking about it, I could do a PowerPoint and all this kind of stuff. This is much more something where it's an individualized experience selling online due to the nature of just where the web is. So on Amazon, if you go on there, and I'll start with Amazon, you'll see that there is everything on earth being sold. And so much of that, if you're selling a generic product, let's say you want to go on there and sell, calculators. Let me use that as an example. And to the number one spot. And some of the techniques that people are using, I'll tell you what they are. I don't always some of them I have problems with. But for instance, if you want to hop in to, I'm not using a frog thing there, but if you want to hop into the a product, you can, and this could change, I'm telling you what's going on right now, you can buy reviews from Amazon. They're about $12 a review for your first 5 reviews. And the way it works is, and I've never done it, but I just know how they've told me it works. You basically, they give people rewards for reviewing a product.
I've done that.
Yeah.
They've asked me to do that.
Well, they then charge the person that you reviewed $12.
I wonder what that was about.
Yeah. And so that way you can
So they
get.
have to have bought your product.
Say what?
They have to have bought your
They
product.
have. Well,
No,
not necessarily. They can review you.
just by going to your website or whatever. Yeah, you didn't actually probably buy that product, did you?
I did.
Well,
Yeah.
I did. And they asked me if I would do a review.
Review, yeah. And they'll do a review and they'll pay those guys for the first 5.
So they might ask you just to give your opinion if you haven't bought it?
I don't know if I've never, used this technique
Yeah.
because I just don't need to, because we have a brand and it's different for us. But I know people that have used this, and what they'll do, the technique they'll use is, let's say they want to get up to the top of the box. They'll do like a rebate or a coupon of some sort on Amazon. They'll buy reviews and they'll try to sell, let's say, like 100 in a week. And then all of a sudden, and they may make no money on it, all of a sudden they'll be number 1 in line when you go search for the product. And then that'll kickstart them and get them going to where they stay at the number 1 spot until somebody else does the same thing. So these are just some of the techniques that people are using, is one example. One of the things that we do right now is advertising. We do keyword advertising. similar to Google, but we do it on Amazon, where we'll put in there, let's just say we'll have like a teacher shirt. So you'll put in there teacher gift for teacher. You'll buy those types of basically advertising on Amazon. And it's no different than buying a Google AdWord or something like that. You'll start to pay for your advertising. The other thing that I'll just go through an experience that I had to try to show you all kind of why you really have to do FBA, which is Fulfillment by Amazon. There are 100 million members of Prime. And really to make it effective for you, because Prime you have to give free shipping and everything, it's just so much better to do Fulfillment by Amazon. Now, what we've done is we started out doing our own fulfillment.
And what does that mean, fulfillment?
Fulfillment's like when the order comes in,
Okay.
we would then process the order and ship it directly to the consumer ourselves.
Oh, okay.
So if let's say if you order from me a T-shirt, we would ship it to you,
Not Amazon.
not Amazon.
Okay, I get you.
So Fulfillment by Amazon is where we send product to Amazon and they hold it in their warehouse and then they ship it. And we don't do anything other than ship it to Amazon. And so that's the difference. And by doing that, they will then make you Prime or allow you to be Prime, your product's Prime. And they'll take care of all of that to make sure it goes out on time. So for instance, we were doing it ourselves, and we had stickers that were they were like $1, $1.50, and the shipping on them was like $5 through Amazon if you did it where you tracked it. And we were just saying, well, listen, we'll save the customer. We can ship it first class for 50 cents and just charge them 50 cents. And they'll buy more, but it wasn't trackable. Well, after a week, when we all of a sudden were out of compliance with Amazon because all of our sticker orders were not trackable. And then Amazon kicked us off and said, okay, you can no longer sell on Amazon.
It's because they wanted the business through them. They
Well,
didn't
well,
like that you were selling.
They wanted it to be
They
trackable.
want it to be trackable.
They wanted all their customers to be
People were
trackable.
complaining, I guess.
Yeah, so then we had to write this big letter. Of course, you can't get anyone on the phone. We had to write a letter which went to somewhere in India, and they turned us down. And so then we had to appeal it, and they then turned us down again. So then we had to set up a separate company that then sold our product on Amazon in order to get reinstated and to sell. And so then I just said, we can't do this anymore. So we did Fulfillment by Amazon. So we ship Amazon all the orders.
The
all
stickers
of-
too?
Everything,
Did you
yeah.
do the stickers?
All the products. And then they are responsible for shipping them, and we've had zero problems. The downside is when you do all the fees and everything on that, it's about 30% for that
That you get or they get?
that they get
Okay.
when you add it all up. So there's an advantage in that you don't have to do anything. There's a disadvantage in that you have a higher fee. And then the other thing that comes into play is that you want to be found on Amazon because you can get lost. I mean, there's millions and millions of products out there. And so we do advertising. And advertising, you follow it, and it's kind of, to me, it's kind of crazy. You're paying Amazon to advertise on Amazon. But you do it, and it increases your sales, but you have to monitor it because sometimes you're trading dollars for dollars, and you're not really getting anything out of it. I mean, there's sometimes we're spending another 30% on advertising. So at that point, Amazon's getting 60% of the sale. So it's a fluid thing that you have to monitor. And when you compare that to, let's say, Walmart. So on Walmart, I really enjoy selling on Walmart. They're nice to you. They give you your money. I've never had a single issue. We do all the shipping directly ourselves with them. their volume is about maybe 10% of Amazon. So if Amazon's doing $10,000, they're doing 1,000. So that's the difference. And eBay is probably 5% of what you do on Amazon. So, and eBay is the same thing. eBay is a dream to deal with. So Amazon's stringent shipping is the real issue that forces everyone into FBA. And FBA is fulfillment by Amazon. So when you're selling, I always tell people that you have to look at the web as a holistic experience. Not just Amazon, but you want to sell through your website because you'll have a higher margin. You want to sell through Amazon because people will find you. You want to sell through eBay and Walmart because you might as well. It's hard to get on Walmart, but once you're on, they're good to deal with. One of the issues that you have with Walmart and all these guys is like and I haven't had to worry about this because I'm a brand and it's a little bit different. But I know with Walmart you may want a different SKU than you have on eBay because of the buy box. And there's a ton of stuff involved in all this stuff with buy boxes and all this stuff and with the SKUs. But you know when you're selling something like this, you want to make sure that you get the SKUs all lined up because you have to have that when you're selling on Amazon. You have to have a barcode on a product and an SKU. And so it's not
just a
hard.
line.
Now, yeah, exactly. I will say one other thing that you've got. So when you first list on Amazon, my suggestion is to list it at the highest price you can possibly list it, because then you can come down after that because they'll have a range. They're really good at items between $13 and $50. Anything above that, it's a little hard to sell. Anything below that, your fees will eat you alive. So that's kind of where you want to be. And then you start getting into like shipping and other issues when you get below 13. So that's pretty much how you want to be when you're dealing with Amazon. When you're, selling, like, let's just say like eBay, that's, that might be something that you could do used on.
I've never looked at eBay or Walmart,
Yeah, well, Walmart's a little harder to get on. But with eBay, it's not that hard to get on. It's not that expensive. The other thing that I recommend when you go, and y'all might already be on Amazon, but I recommend going ahead and getting the professional. When you sign up, they give you individual and they give you professional. Professional is $39.95. It allows you to have virtually unlimited numbers of product. And the other thing that I've recommended is that, like even at Peace Frogs, we don't call ourselves Peace Frogs as the company online. It's just good to have like a separate like name of some sort. I've just found that to be helpful when you're selling online. It allows you to sell anything you want. Not that we would be, but it just gives you a sort of a way of distancing yourself. It's the web sales are really important, especially when you're in a rural area like us. You can sell anywhere in the world anything. You don't need to be in a city anymore. It's where retail is. I used to be in every mall at Christmas time. I don't have a single location in the mall right now. They just are dead, and everybody buys online. So it's a great thing for people in our area. The biggest part is getting through the clutter on the web, because building a site, you've got to get the word out some way or another. Amazon's really good because it's a marketplace and people are going there naturally. But it's also, you've got to make sure people on Amazon know you're there or you're at the top of the list. So
you have a website also that you sell from?
Yeah.
And they allow you to do that, to compete with them?
I wouldn't sell on them. Yeah, I sell on both.
I have to look at that.
The other thing that's really interesting, we had a problem about 2 years ago with this. where our shirts, we sell them for around 20, 22 bucks online. And all of a sudden I was doing searches and people were selling our shirts for $9. And I was like, wow, how are they doing that? I should buy from these guys. So I went in and I found out what it is. So these are fake companies that are set up either in North Korea, or China, that then will take your photo of whatever. They'll log in to the same SKU and everything, right? They'll offer it at a ridiculously cheap price, say we'll deliver it in 3 weeks, and you see that delivery in 3 weeks, and they put it on there as that's what they're going to do. And then you buy it, and then the next day that company says it shipped it to Amazon. Amazon pays them a week or 2 later, and then you still don't think it's supposed to be there for another 3 weeks, and then it never shows up, and you go back to Amazon. Amazon has to refund you your money, but the Chinese get to keep it. And it was a huge problem for Amazon.
I've been hit with that same scam. My wife has been 2 or 3 times. I've been hit with it once. They'll say it went to a different state.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why did it go to that state?
Yeah.
And it's just a big scam.
Big scam. They never ever shipped
Or
it.
they send you the completely wrong product.
Yeah.
That
So if you see something like that that's ridiculously cheap, or it's a little, it's too good to be true, I've learned, and just like you
you
have,
think that they'd be able to crack down on that. So
I know.
You know?
And they, especially after what I went through with their having to get reinstated.
So when you ship stuff to Amazon, they pay you right away for that? It's not
No,
like they're on
they
consignment?
hold it,
That's what I was thinking.
and they'll
yeah.
charge you
Oh.
to hold it.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, the fees are huge. They add up.
So if you shipped an item to them, then it'll sit there, they'll accept it, and then they charge each month for having
You
it.
have to ship it correctly, have all the UPCs in the right spots so they don't do anything manual. And if anything's off, they'll charge you a chargeback. And then if there's any issues at all, they charge you. And then they hold it. And then if after a certain period of time it doesn't sell, they start charging you storage, where you can have it shipped back at your expense.
Okay.
So you don't want to ship them something that
Yeah.
you don't think is going to sell. Or just be ready to pay if it doesn't sell.
Amazon is not a good platform to test a marketing idea.
It's not. It's
eBay would be
eBay is much better.
much
eBay's
better on
better
that.
to start.
Yeah,
Especially to
and
start.
so having your own website too is crucial. I mean, it's not that tough. I mean, you can build them pretty easily. Yeah, I mean, if you're starting out, I mean, I did a site the other day just for messing around with. I used to use WordPress for that. I mean,
But still, you're at their mercy. I mean, you don't own your site, right?
to me, it doesn't matter that much about owning as much as it is. Like I had an incident
Because they're hosting you.
probably about 7 or 8 years ago. Last time we did a catalog. So I did a catalog, and we were hosting our site basically through an Amazon server. And I don't know how it happened, but it was around the time when WikiLeaks was going on. I went out and spent about $500,000 on my catalog, shipped it all out. This was, in November. And we were doing pretty well, right on schedule. And then all of a sudden, we had a denial of service attack. And that's when your site has like 1 million requests to open, at a time. And it just overloads it. So apparently, somehow or another, our site got mixed up with WikiLeaks, and we were being attacked by 5 different servers around the world, and they shut down our site on Cyber Monday. So we were shut down from Cyber Monday for 7 days. 0 sales. I had people I had to send everybody home for 7 days. I had the FBI on it. There was nothing I could do to deal with it. Finally, we transferred it to a different server, and that followed, the denial of service attack followed. So then we had to firewall that and put it to another server, and we finally got ourselves back up and barely sort of limped back. But it was a real eye-opener. So, having, a cloud-based type site that can take tremendous traffic is really important for us.
So who do you go with?
Right now, we basically are using an Amazon server. They have the massive servers. They can take just about any size attack. I mean, there aren't enough computers in the world to shut them down.
It's one of their unsung businesses is selling data space.
Yeah,
They have more data available than any other
than anyone.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we use a company, enterprise type software out of Savannah called CB3 that then integrates with our site. And that's how we work it. And, you know, we pay for that $300 a month. It's worth it to us. And we're going to be transferring our entire server onto a cloud base, which would be, it's cheap, it's not expensive. But then we don't have to worry about PCI compliance. Because that's the other thing you have to worry about is basically your credit card, you know, when you're accepting credit cards, to be in compliance so that nobody can steal them. Because the worst thing would be if somebody
You
stole
have to do
your.
that scan all the time and everything.
Well, this is a little bit different from that. This is like, if you store or accepting credit cards, you want to make sure that they're not able to be hacked. Like they're not on some server that somebody could then come into. And, you know, we're not a big enough company where we can really afford to have a full IT staff. So you guys outsource that and you put it onto a server where they can do that for us. And it's not that expensive, but it's just something that we have to do. If you're doing PayPal or something like that, you don't need to worry about that at all.
Is PayPal the way to go? I've been thinking about that.
I have
too.
PayPal. I mean, it's good.
Okay. I've been with QuickPay with Chesapeake Banks. I love Chesapeake
Well,
Bank.
you can do both.
and-
You need to have as many options.
But like quarterly, they got to do this to accept credit cards and debits. I've got to go do the scan thing
It's
every
PCI
quarter.
compliance.
Yeah.
I guarantee it's probably
With control
what it is.
scan.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once a year, you got to do this whole rigmarole, and I'm like, geez, you know.
Yeah, well, you can-
I think with PayPal, you don't have to.
No, I've
Not with
never had
PayPal,
that
you don't
problem
have
with
to.
PayPal.
But whenever you're accepting credit cards, you do. And credit cards, I mean, I like being able to accept every kind of payment. I mean, if somebody wants to walk in the door and pay us cash, we'll probably do it. It's never happened. But, you know, you want to be convenient to people.
Oh yeah, you have to be.
We
You
even
have
still
to.
get checks in the mail.
But is there, like, you have PayPal for business? Is that the way to go? Do they have a separate business?
Yeah,
versus-
well, we just have it through our business, and it's just,
Yeah.
you can accept credit cards, you can, I mean, people can pay on PayPal using your credit card. So it's
And then they
good.
take care of all
Yeah.
that.
The other thing that's really, that I find to be really good, so when I look at my analytics, you need to, on your own site, set up Google Analytics, and then you can analyze it, and it can tell you how much mobile sales you're getting. So you want to make sure that your site is very mobile friendly. It'll tell you country, which is really important to know.
I finally worked on my Google business thing.
Yeah, Google Analytics.
That's impressive when you
Yeah.
really get it going.
Yeah,
They're always they're like letting you know, oh, these many people looked at you today on
yeah,
Google.
analytics.
And
Yeah, it's really
yeah.
interesting.
I wish I'd done that before. Somebody finally turned me on to it. They go, you need to work on your Google thing. And I said,
Yeah.
what Google thing? And I went and checked it, and I was there, but I hadn't finished it.
It's important to track where your
Yeah.
sales are coming from, especially because on the web there's multi-channels of distribution, and you want to know which channel's working, whether it's social or mobile, or if it's
They know
search or
everything you're
direct.
doing.
Yeah, no, they do.
It's a little scary.
Yeah, no, but all of these guys are very difficult from a customer service point of view to deal with. Google is virtually impossible, just like, but they're better than Amazon. I finally found some secret number that gets me through to a human being at Amazon.
Oh my God, share it.
Yeah, I'll definitely should do that. I'll do that.
That's the next company you start at to sell that information.
Yeah, and you know, it's still, you're dealing with people overseas, and so it's sometimes there's a language barrier or a cultural barrier. There's a bunch of different barriers that could pop up when you start to deal with that. The other thing, though, that is important is to have good product photography. When you're putting anything up on Google, I mean on Amazon, anything, is to have good product photography. And it's not that hard to do it. It comes with the lighting, and there's a lot of different ways to take the photos, but definitely, you know, do some good photography. And then the descriptions are important for searches on anything, on Amazon or on anything. So if you write in there just t-shirt, you know, check through and see, how you write the word T-shirt. Check through how you describe the T-shirt. Just don't say, T-shirt 5021, because that doesn't mean anything to anybody. Say T-shirt, or teacher T-shirt, or whatever, description that think about what someone would be searching for to get that. It could be peaceful tree T-shirt or whatever, something where somebody would say, I want something that has to do with trees or farming or whatever. You want to make sure that you describe it that way rather than some number or SKU number in your description, even though you'll have that.
I know this is a silly question, but where do you get SKUs?
To get a UPC code, I think it's called GS1. I haven't done it in years, but you go get your UPC code and they'll give you the beginning digits, and then you make them for your
They're
final
specific
ones.
to you.
They're specific to you. It's not expensive. I think it's like $300.
So you're like registering your company that you're going to be using the first.
Well, yeah, because you can't just make up a UPC, because then how do you know that it isn't already existing? But you only have to get one UPC code generally.
Yeah, I'm still like writing up
And
receipts.
then you make up.
It's the prefix, you need the
Yeah.
prefix. What was the site for the company?
GS.
It's like GS1 or something like that. They're I think they're out of Alexandria or Arlington.
Right, because this has to be multinationally configured.
Yeah.
So they'll give you like the first 6 digits, and then sometimes they may help you with the next group or in there because of what you're producing.
Yeah.
Kind of puts it in a category.
And then you just get a little printer that prints them out, little stickers, and you want to make sure it's a good printer because people have to be able to read it.
And scan
Right.
it, because that's all now technology is scannable.
But
Yeah.
to make all that make sense, you need to have a point of sale system in your store, right? I mean, not,
you could use
not
Square.
just writing.
You can do it with your phone.
You-
Your phone
your
has
phone?
a camera,
Yeah.
and you can download the QR scanner or the barcode
Yeah.
scanner on your phone.
I mean, you don't have to spend a lot of money on this. So I use the Square for my festivals. And everybody that works for me just pulls it up on their phone. They have a login. They go in. They can make credit card sales right there. You can also use it as a point of purchase display. It's a fully functioning
Okay,
cash
so
register.
Square
So
is
Shopify
the
is-
Yeah, Shopify does the same thing.
Square's the
PayPal.
operational device.
No,
It's PayPal on your phone.
It's PayPal
Right.
on your phone. You
Okay.
can do it with PayPal probably. I've never used
That's
it.
what I was
PayPal
wondering.
has their version yet. They're
Yeah.
still working on it because they're kind of finding out what everybody's got over
Yeah.
here. and
Okay,
then
so
they're
if you're with
gonna come out.
PayPal, they have their own little device for your phone.
I'll tell you
You have a
who.
website, right?
Yes.
Does your website have a provision where you can get a credit card scanner? There should be on there a free credit card scanner.
Probably does.
Yeah.
Weebly's pretty good.
And so what you probably have the capability on your website. You have to do a little bit of digging, but they'll probably send you a free reader in the
Yeah.
mail. And then there's probably an app that you can download to link them together. And so with my website, I can pull up every product that I have on my website. If I'm at a festival or something like that, I can pull it up and sell it right from my phone. And every product that's already on my website that I've already uploaded,
So George, do you use Square? What do you
I
use?
use the Shopify.
Shopify.
That's what my
Yeah.
website is through.
Yeah.
So you can download, I'll pull it up
Yeah.
right now. So here's my Shopify POS system. And it's just, like all my products are right
It's a
here.
point of
Yeah.
sale system, yeah.
And that
See,
is
I guess
net- yeah.
I need to
It's-
set up a
all
point
it
of
is,
sale.
it does it for you.
But
It's
that's a
free.
good way to do it was with your web page and everything. I mean,
And I recommend that because you're already taking the time to put the product up there.
yeah.
And if I want to do a sale, a quick sale, I can give it an individual name or I can select the product directly.
Yeah.
And I can have different product price points. If I have to pay a significant fee for like a show, I can say, hey, this number of products are gonna be priced differently. And so you can bring that up. And I love it. I used to have an in-store credit card reader. I don't ever use them anymore because they peak, off-peak, all these different
Right,
hours.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know what I'm gonna get
Well,
charged.
and reception's not
Yeah.
that great sometimes.
No, you're right.
The convenience of having it right here, and it's got another program that allows me to actually go into my website and actually add products.
Wow.
So your website probably has that
Probably does, I just
capability.
haven't, gotten
You need-
there,
you need
but I
to
need to get there.
Put in
so.
some hours tonight. I mean, you probably have that opportunity.
Yeah, it's not as hard as you think it is. I mean, it really is pretty user friendly.
So I would look for point of sale, point of
But like
sale?
he's saying, the
They
customer
might call
service,
it,
you can't get a hold of
You
anybody.
can't go to anybody.
yeah,
Yeah.
it might be merchant acceptance, credit card acceptance. It just depends on their wording of how they,
Yeah.
Spotify.
And they'll let you know what they'll work with,
So-
like they may not wanna work with Chesapeake
So,
Bank, right?
I bet you if you
With
look
Quick
on,
Pay.
I bet you if you look on the Google App Store, there's already a Weebly app that you can download.
Yeah. You've got to be ready with Amazon. You've got to be able to produce the product. You got to worry about returns. You don't want any products to get returns. They'll ding you for that. So that's where it gets really tough with, let's say, even with me with tie-dyes, which are handmade. And you know, you've got to make sure you can ship, like I was saying, without any issues. Because if you ship something that's not tracked, who knows what is about 10 or 20 different things you've got to do that they have to be shipped correctly. Or you've got to do fulfillment by Amazon, which is what I really recommend, is FBA. Because you're going to want them to deal with it, so then you're Prime. Because everybody's on Prime, wants to get something Prime.
Hey, Catesby, do you recommend linking your Amazon account to your website?
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. I mean, I don't do it, but you could. I
Do
mean,
you think it's beneficial, because you're taking some of your own market share out of your own pocket?
well, I mean, that's what I have my exact same photos on Amazon. I mean, basically, I took mine and just dumped the data into Amazon. Is how I did it, and then I pick and choose which ones I put up, depending on my inventory or such. And then when I do FBA, they take over that, and they'll take stuff down when it's out. So, I mean, I just take the photos and all the info, and I dumped it into Amazon. But I don't link the inventory because they're separate inventories.
Okay.
So there's no need for me to link my two websites together because of that. But you're right, you are taking your market share away. I mean, that's what I'm saying. My website is basically somewhat stagnant, and my growth is coming exponentially off of Amazon, and yet my profits on Amazon are way down here
Yeah.
compared to your own website. And so,
Volume-based.
yeah, so I look at this going, oh my gosh, if all this migrates over here, I'm just gonna, it's a killer. So the other thing is to remember is this, so you can get kicked off of Amazon for having a messed up rate, if you wanna call it messed up or mistakes, of 3%. So if you do 100 shipments in a month and mess up 3, you can get kicked off. So that's the other downside to not being FBA, is that if you mess up and it's a percentage, like if you were doing 1,000 and you messed up 3, it'd be no big deal. But if you're doing, let's say, 100 or maybe 50 or 75 and you mess up 3 or 4, you can be kicked off. And they can be really, really simple mess ups, like not tracking them. And once you're kicked off, just don't even, I mean, try to get reinstated, but just get ready to have to set up a whole new operation to do it, and it's a pain. But the other advantage to FBA though is Prime, because when you're Prime, it opens up the door to a lot of people, like you were saying, you know, Uber consumers, the guys that are going to buy all the time, and they go in, they just press a button and buy your product. And so that's the advantage of FBA.
I mean, we're good because we have a fulfillment center in Chesapeake, and we have a brand new one in Richmond. I mean, huge. And it's actually got a data center. They dropped some servers there, so it's out near the airport.
But
And there's
But-
one coming to Suffolk.
But the other thing is, so I guess really the essence of it is this, is we've talked a lot about fulfillment, websites and things like that. I don't want to say that logistics isn't that hard, but any one of us can do the logistics. We can figure it out. The real tricky part and the real holy grail of the web is how to be found. It's how do you get people to find you? How do you sell? I mean, and there is no, golden key to it. it's a variety of different things. I've done AdWords, I do social media, I do mailings, I do word of mouth. They all work.
How long have you been running Peace Frogs and doing Peace Frogs?
35 years.
That's what I was saying. I told them that you're
Yeah.
doing this, and I said, I think he's been around 35 years, because I've been living here since the 80s,
Yeah.
and I've seen his products out there from when it was at Water Country and the band.
Yeah.
I said, so you got almost like a totally new generation coming
Yeah.
up, seeing your product line.
Well, I sell 0 to 100-year-olds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I started out doing mail order. So I don't know if you all know it, like how I started, but I in the 80s, I took out a quarter-page ad in Rolling Stone magazine and had an 800 number. And it was funny because I was in Charlottesville at that time. And 800 numbers were technologically couldn't be done in Charlottesville. So I had to go to a buddy's house in
Have
Richmond.
you figured that one out?
What, the 800?
To punch it through there, because that's my problem is I've got an 800 number I've had for 25 years.
Yeah.
And I need it, because the problem is with 800 numbers, kids think they can text to it.
I got rid of my 800 number.
Did you?
I don't even use it anymore. I mean, nobody bothers to use it, except for my kids.
People call me on mine.
Yeah, they just, yeah, it's amazing how it's changed. But in order to get an 800 number, I had to get MCI at that time to run it into a friend of mine's house. And then that was our phone bank. And then a year later, they allowed us to have it here in Gloucester. And so I was doing quarter-page ads in Rolling Stone magazine and shipping everything out to everybody through that. They were calling by phone. And then in the 90s, the web came along. We built a website. We started doing web orders and catalogs. And so I was mailing out about a 500,000 catalogs a year. And that was doing great. And then gradually the post office started getting more and more expensive on the shipping and, you know, on the cost of it. And then more and more business was going to the web. And I started seeing this sort of point where it was converging. So we stopped doing those mailings, and it didn't change anything. And we were still getting the same orders. And so now for word of mouth, I do fairs and festivals. I go to all these different fairs and festivals, get people, they know who we are from that. And then, you know, for AdWords, I did a bunch of AdWords this year. I'm a little mixed on AdWords now. I think they're not what they used to be. Social media has done really well for us this year. That's been really good. But I mean, even the ads on social media haven't worked as well as just.
Do you do a Facebook business account yet?
We do Facebook, Instagram. Facebook actually returns better for us than Instagram, but it's still is pretty good. But a lot of it's just organic that we're getting off of that. It's just when I look at it and I see the people sharing and all that.
I've never seen one of your ads.
Well, you're probably not our demographic. That's just it. So,
I'm an old hippie.
but I'll tell you something that's kind of interesting. So,
Definitely.
and this gets into just the nature of our society is that we're getting to the point that we're very bubble. We're all living in little bubbles. And you can think something doesn't exist because you're in a different bubble.
Yes.
And so we're isolating ourselves, even though we're online. So it's important if you want to know what's going on. I'm always friending things that I don't really care about, but I want to kind of know.
Because you want them to
I know
see
that's a
it. Yeah.
different demographic.
That's a good idea.
And so what you do is you start to get all kinds of stuff coming in. It opens your mind up to what's going on out there. Otherwise, it's very niche oriented. And
The AdWords, were you doing words like Peace Frogs, or were you relying on your company
No,
to
it's-
come
it's-
up?
we were
like
doing-
T-shirts or like
well,
T-shirts?
first off, Google, the last month we've worked with Google, that was a nightmare.
Yeah.
They called us up and we're working, they wanted to use AI to create AdWords, and it was crap. Literally. It absolutely was the biggest waste of money I've ever done. Just our own natural AdWords were so much better. Where we do like hippie clothing
Okay.
or things that are associated with it that you have to put yourself, like you can do trends on Google. They'll tell you kind of trends that are going on, like searches and kind of, there's a lot of ways you can kind of look at it. But if you know your product and you know your customers, you can kind of think, how would somebody search for one of your products?
So I've never never spent a single dime with Google. I've never really.
Then
had
I wouldn't worry about it. I really wouldn't. I think it's on its way out.
Far overrated.
The benefit I have is
I agree.
I'm in a very tight niche kind of community. There's only about 5,000 or so blacksmiths in the country that are professionals.
Yeah,
And of that, there's very few that are very good on the computer with the websites. So if you type in blacksmiths near me, just about anywhere in the country, I'll come up because that's one of my search criteria embedded in my website.
yeah, which is, I think, the way to go. That and word of mouth, if you ask me, and social media. If you do those three things, I think you're really on top of it. Well, it's interesting to say this. So one of our customers is Walmart. We sell probably about 500,000 stickers a year through Walmart. And they're out there all over the country in every store selling them. And it's a great way to get that name out there, and then people see it, and then they go and check it out.
So they buy from you or do you?
Yeah, they buy from me. And then they sell it. And it's all about just, getting your brand recognized
Yeah,
and out
It's
there.
a heck of a platform to advertise your work.
But
Talk to me about this Walmart thing. Do you ship to like a Walmart fulfillment center and then they disperse it out for you, or how is that on your stickers? 'Cause
all right,
that's
for
one
the
thing-
stickers, I actually have another company that's doing the entire distribution for me to Walmart. And so I don't have to touch it. And so it's through a license.
You've licensed, I got
I've
you.
licensed it to a sticker company that sells to Walmart, and so they just pay me a royalty.
Okay, so this sticker company's negotiated with Walmart and they've got companies like you that have already given them pre-license.
Well, this is it. So Walmart doesn't want to have 20 million vendors and then to add in another one.
Ah, so they've got.
So for
middlemen that-
me to get one SKU in, and it's been in there for 5 years now, it's virtually impossible. Now, I've made shirts for people that sell to Walmart, and then I've shipped. And that was actually, I'm really impressed by Walmart because of the way, so they call me up and they would say, okay, we want, this pallet with this number of boxes, shrink wrapped with this SKUs on each box, on this corner, and all this kind of stuff. And we'll be by between 1 and 2 on Tuesday, or whatever the day is, and you better be ready. So then you put all the different pallets out with the shirts on it, and they would come by, we'd load it all up, we'd have 30 minutes to load them up, and then they're out of there.
It's a Walmart truck company?
It's a Walmart truck that comes, picks up, and they take it then to the distribution center. It has barcodes on it, it goes down into their center, hits the barcode, then it just goes where it's supposed to go, to a different center. It's really interesting, and I totally get it. And because of that, they're very efficient, can give you good prices. With our stickers, so we licensed it out. We've done this for school supplies, for a bunch of different stuff that I don't really want to get into making. And so these guys have, they have all the stickers in Walmart.
Yeah, it's all that infrastructure.
And so they want to have one more piece for our sticker. So then we license them, they pay us 10% of whatever they sell, and we don't have to deal with any
That's
of it.
That's a
smart,
very good
smart way to
idea.
do it.
It's a great way to do it. And then I don't have to deal with
You
any
have
of
to
it.
pull your hair out with product
Not
development and all
to
that.
take away from your t-shirt company, but is there a t-shirt licensing version of that in Walmart?
I've tried it, and it's a nightmare.
Is it? Okay.
I've licensed out before t-shirts, and it's scary
Okay.
because if people don't care about it, they can drop you like a hot potato. When you own the brand, you've got to watch it, you got to really protect it.
Okay.
They could cheapen the shirt, there's a lot of things they could do. When you get into t-shirts, like you have to maintain that quality, the design work, there's a bunch of different things you got to do.
Okay.
So stickers, it's easy because it's one design or two designs. I mean, we license that school supplies, stickers. What else have we licensed out? Tire covers for Jeeps,
Okay.
and
Yeah, I've seen those.
we're doing little phone cases now. We put your little card into it, little signs for the beach, things that are not my core, but things that would add to the brand.
But I see what you're saying, because that's something that cannot be cheapened, because if you're gonna put a spare tire on cheap, it has to meet a certain quality for wear.
Yeah.
Same thing with a sticker for a kid at school.
Yeah.
That's, the quality very rarely changes. But I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. If I license my logo of a t-shirt, they may be off in color. They may buy a really dirt
By
quality
dirt
t-shirt.
quality, they get beat up by price, and the first thing they do is put it down, lower the quality of it. It's a crappy T-shirt.
And then it hurts
Doesn't
your
sell,
business
it doesn't
overall.
brand, and then boom, you're hating it. And then, you know, so you know, there's some tricky stuff with that. You just got to really watch it. But I've been licensing. So I first started licensing about '97, and I was approached by this company that was making school supplies. And they said, this is really random, but we'd like to license your school supplies because we took 30 different logos, from Mickey Mouse to Coca-Cola to all this stuff, and we threw in the Peace Frog, and we did this study, random study, and yours came in number 2. And we threw you in there just to fill in space. And they're like, we would like to license it. So I licensed it to them, and they sold literally over $1 million worth of school supplies every year. They were killing it. And then they licensed Godzilla. And they went out, and Godzilla said, you got to do this and this and this. And they went out and they made something like $10 million worth of Godzilla school supplies, shipped them to all the Walmarts, Targets, everything. And you see, with school supplies, the way that Target and Walmart and those guys work is if it doesn't sell, they ship it back to you. So it's a consignment. And Godzilla didn't sell, so they shipped it back to this company and put them out of business. And they were actually out of Roanoke. It was really sad.
Speaking of like Target, are there any companies like Walmart you would foresee in the future as far as doing the whole?
So I've sold Nordstrom's. I actually had a trademark issue with Target twice that we won. Kohl's, I've had trademark issues with Kohl's, and we won that case too,
All right, talk to me about what do you mean by a trademark issue?
where they're selling Peace Frogs pajamas. I've had that happen. So we've had
You took your
Target, Mud Jeans, who else? Kohl's, and who else? Oh, Joanne Fabrics. Yeah. So, but what I'm trying to say is, it's like trademarks have to be defended, and you also have to be very careful. You know, OBX lost its trademark, so they went to court and to defend their trademark, and they lost, and it became public domain. And so you have to be very careful. You can't trademark something that exists in nature that's normal. And so that's the tricky part. Like, you can't trademark a word that everybody uses every day because it exists already. And so OBX was used, as a airport location. So that's how they lost it. So when you get into trademark stuff, it's very tricky. But that was one thing that we had to do, is we had to defend it. And so it's one of those things you don't want to have to do. And I haven't had to do it for a while. Well, I hope I helped y'all. If y'all have any questions or ever, just give me a holler.
Thank you.
Yeah.